right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. All rise and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's start with roll call. Wayne Ferris.
Here.
Rick Robertson.
Here.
Jake Easley.
Here.
Jen Sherburne is here. Mary Hopkins is absent. Brian, how do you say your last name? Suka.
Yep.
Suka. And Mike Rosemont.
Right.
Awesome. And I'd like to officially welcome Brian to the Planning Commission as his first official meeting. And with that, let's move on to approval of the agenda. Is it too loud? Okay. What's the agenda look like?
Support.
Motion by Wayne, support by Rick for approval of the agenda. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. And you should also have a copy of the minutes from April 14th, our 2022 regular Planning Commission meeting. And I know you guys got those from Mary a couple months ago, but I brought you all a hard copy as well.
I move that we accept the Planning Commission meeting minutes from 4/14/22 as presented. Support.
All right, we have a motion by Rick and support by Brian for approval of the minutes from April 14th, 2022, regular Planning Commission meeting. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Are there any public comments? Okay, hearing none. Communications. I had two. I sent, I think twice now I've emailed out and I made you a copy of it, I think. I thought I had it in. Yeah. Local zoning issues keeping you up at night, hot topics in planning and zoning. And there were 3 different dates to attend like a workshop type thing on August 16th, August 24th, and August 31st. The 31st one is also available to watch remotely, I guess. It is put on by the Newfield Township Association, if anybody was interested in that. And Steve, I thought you had said that you were interested in
Yes, I'm gonna do the other one.
you want to do that. So if anybody else is, you can let me know and we'll work on getting you registered for that. And then the second one, correspondence that I had was from May 19th, and this was a letter from Mr. Draper, wanting to make sure that the possibility, according to our language, the possibility of up to 40 Class A and B marijuana facilities coming into our township was brought up. Yes, Mr. Draper, I know you're here. That is in our minutes, so I wanted to make sure that I addressed that too. That's all I have for correspondence. Anybody else have anything else? Okay, then the next thing on our agenda is old business. And earlier this spring, we talked about getting together and taking a look at our sign ordinance and updating that. Mary and I were going to do that before this meeting at 6 o'clock, but she's on vacation, so, I really don't have much of an update other than we're tentatively planning on doing that at 6 o'clock before September's meeting. That's what I got for that one. And I'll look up the date before we adjourn tonight, what the date is for our next meeting. Second thing was the zoning ordinance manual revisions and legal counsel update. I think I can't remember which of us were sitting in on that. I think Steve was going to, and then two of us. Jay was one person, and
I never saw it would.
oh, okay. So that is something that we need to take a look at, is a few of the zoning manual revisions. And setting up a time for that. Because I don't think that's been done since we last talked about it this spring.
I think we should look at hiring a consultant.
Okay?
So I've got an email out to Mary Riley at Citizen Planner,
She's fantastic.
and I haven't heard back yet.
You
But
have
I
not
have
heard back?
not. I
Okay.
only sent it yesterday, so,
Okay.
and she may be on vacation, I don't know. But asking for recommendations on,
Like having a professional sit with us to take a look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that sounds like a great idea.
There's also someone local, Lindsay Ager, who's now with the Fremont Foundation. He has a master's in urban planning.
What's your last name?
His name,
His name, sorry.
Hagar, Hagar,
H, what,
Hagar.
like Sammy?
Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
What's his first name?
Lindsay,
Lindsay.
Landsay. And he's done consulting both for nonprofits and for townships.
That's something to look into too.
Actually for the State Housing Authority as well.
Okay.
Fremont area.
Yeah, he's now there. I believe I have his personal
Foundation.
email as well.
When we get to recommendations for the board, maybe there's some sort of pre-approval thing we could do for checking into that, and
Well, I mean, yeah. It's gonna cost money. So.
it's gonna cost money, yeah, right, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Planning commission bylaws, I was going to print new copies after the changes that we had suggested at our April meeting. Amanda, what did you say was the holdup for email addresses?
We need to get a company that can come in and do all of the email addresses and put them all in,
Was it like a security thing or something you would say?
yeah, security and policy. So basically with FOIA laws and everything like that, you have to have certain security features, and Luke could not provide those.
Okay.
So that's where it was. I was looking into other companies that could provide that for
Okay.
us.
Okay, and then once we do have that updated on what exactly those might be, I believe our bylaws are also posted on our website, so we'd have to get that, we'd have to update that also. So those were just a couple of the things that we had talked about, putting in our bylaws, but like I said, I haven't put them in and had Amanda updated on our website yet because we were waiting on those. So I guess we're on to new business then. And we have an entertainment application from Hightower Bar and Grill LLC. And you should have an application in front of you for that. Thank you, Steve, for getting that to us and letting us have the week to review it too. Mr., is it Saucer? Saucer?
Yes.
Do you want to introduce yourself and just kind of share what your,
Sure.
really kind of what the application?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first off, I'd like to clear confusion because Brian came out to see me on Tuesday and he thought I was from Ohio. My name is John Sauser. I grew up in Crystal Valley, Michigan. I graduated from Hart High. I went into the military, and then I had a corporate job for 30 years. In September 15th of 2020, I took everything I had and bought a bar during COVID, and I fell in love with the bar because it's on the lake, and I had a vision to create that outdoor entertainment center into what I'm trying to do today for our neighbors in the community, and to try to draw more business into the bar. Since I've owned the bar, the business has increased substantially. We're getting more and more tourists from Muskegon, Grand Haven, Fremont, a lot of local residents. Well, number one, they helped me through COVID. We kept our doors open in COVID, due to takeout and due to local support. And the entertainment license is something that I did not know that I needed. I have a state of Michigan license with 2 outdoor bars, with entertainment, with dancing, with music. It's all included in my liquor license. So I thought I did everything correctly.
Okay.
I have a letter I sent an email when I moved the fence and built the stage. The liquor investigator said that I did not need any special permission from the state of Michigan, as long as I kept the fence at 70 feet, which it is. And then the stage was irrelevant at that point as far as whether I built it or didn't. So I thought I had the approval on that.
Okay.
The stage was built last year. I didn't use it until this spring. I've had several concerts there with no issues. There was an issue that came up July 4th weekend of all weekends, when fireworks are going on, until 1 in the morning there. I did my own fireworks display. When I started to research music for the bar, I could not find online anywhere where there was a noise ordinance. So I went to the noise ordinances that they follow in Muskegon, where the deck and dockers who are in residential areas, they're done by 11.
Okay.
With the exception of July 3rd, which I had a 20-minute fireworks display, so I had the band played till 11:20. My bad. I did not know a formal time, but when I found something online, there was a noise ordinance that must be shut down at a reasonable time. The other thing that I had asked, about it, there were, at this point in time, some noise complaints about the bands being loud. I am on a lake, it is an open area. The rule of thumb that I use is when a band plays, that our customers should be able to still talk, we should still be able to order drinks, that's a reasonable level to me. I did not see any decibel notation anywhere that it says it has to be X amount of decibels for so many 100 feet out or so many feet out. I don't see that, so it says reasonable. So my idea of reasonable is we should still be able to carry on a conversation, it should still be order drinks, and it shouldn't be loud enough to where you have to yell at the next, to the person next to you. So that's the rule of thumb that we use. When Brian came out to visit me, we had a discussion on that. He said that the last band on Saturday was a reasonable level, and he said that there were, from his perspective, no issues on that. So I think I have a decent gauge of what reasonable is. I also asked Brian if there is a complaint that, you can call the bar directly and I can turn the music down. I've never had anybody call the bar directly and ask me. I didn't know that there were any issues whatsoever. I've got friends from the community and friends from the lake that support it and think that what we're doing and what we're trying to do for the community is good. I actually, at my own expense, took out the old fence and put a new fence up so that our friends with pontoons and boats can actually pull up and dock, and they don't have to go into the bar, they don't have to buy anything, they can have their friends on the pontoon, and they can actually see the band and hear the band. I posted, on Facebook today to ask for friends of either opinion to please come out to the meeting, and if they have a concern, please, either way, if they're for or against, right now I have, it's about 35 positive comments, and we have almost 200 likes. So I think for the most part, the majority of our friends and neighbors around the area do appreciate what we're trying to do. The last thing I'd like to say, I guess, is I'm probably the only owner that I know of in the last 20 years that has put that much money back into the bar that I'm trying, and I've got a 10-year plan. So
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere soon. I'm gonna be here for the next 10 or 12 years, and I plan on improving the bar and then making it, an actual showpiece. Hightower has been around for 100 years, and I don't want to be the person, that ruins it or can't do what I wanna do, that's part of the dream that I bought the bar for.
Right.
And so I do continue to want to, continue to improve it, and then provide that service, to the community. So.
Awesome, thank you. So the application, says that you have 13 employees. Fantastic, the employment that you're providing in the township is awesome. I think the biggest issue is, the noise is what we're looking at, so, and I was gonna ask, Jay or Steve maybe, because I was able to, it's not in the zoning manual, it's separate on our website under, public safety ordinance. Why is that not in the zoning manual itself? I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
Oh, because,
Is there a reason?
yes.
Okay,
So it can be,
It's not a land use issue.
it's not a land, exactly, it's not a land use issue, it's literally a public safety issue.
okay,
We used to have everything, our blight, all of that was in our zoning ordinance.
okay,
Our attorney said you can't enforce it
okay,
as a zoning issue.
okay,
It has to be a public safety issue to be enforceable.
okay,
So we segregated out the blight issues,
Yep.
the noise issue, the ORV, there's something else.
junk vehicle,
Yeah, part of blight, yeah. So that was moved out of the zoning ordinance and into this public safety ordinance that was in 2017.
that's what I didn't know, that was right before I started, okay,
The other thing to go along with that, interestingly enough, the only thing we contract, or that the sheriff department is willing to enforce for us, is the noise ordinance.
okay,
We actually have a contract with the sheriff department and in a contract that's
well,
what
and
they enforce.
it sounds like John's more than willing to follow the 11 o'clock curfew of it needs to stop at 11 o'clock, so,
The 11 o'clock is, yeah, that, I did, again, until I formally knew that that's what it was, I did. The only other thing, if I may bring it up, is
Yeah.
I put Saturdays from 8 to 11 on there. I also occasionally will have a Sunday ban from like 4 to 7 for Sunday afternoons. And then the only other thing I guess I have a question on is, there are special occasions where I can't predict if there's something that happens on a Thursday. I know Thanksgiving Eve, which will most likely be inside, that's gonna be on a Thursday. But in the summer, if there's a special event, I don't know how to ask for permission, but if there's something, I still think I should have the right to have a ban on an afternoon. If somebody said, you know what I mean, if there's a special day, or if a holiday falls outside of a Saturday or a Sunday.
yeah,
I just want the permission to say, well, I'll let Steve know or whatever, I'm gonna have a ban this Thursday. Everything's gonna be on Facebook, I have to mark it somehow.
right, right.
But, there may be a special occasion that I did not think about that's not formally written on this form.
So our role is to discuss it and make a recommendation to the board for approval or denial. So I guess let's open up discussion for, his application.
I'm still confused, and maybe Rick can help me out on this being a bar owner himself. He already has entertainment license to the state, which we can't revoke. So the best we can do is just enforce the noise ordinance with us. It's the only thing we can do. You cannot take away his privilege, which was given to him by the state of Michigan for nothing. And if he wishes, at each occurrence of violation, he can hand you $100 and tell you, I'll see you the next time I have a violation.
May I ask, what is gonna be considered a noise violation if there's no decibel level?
Well, no, I'm just trying to find out what this does. That's all I'm trying to find out. Does he have a legal right to have his entertainment to the state of Michigan that we can't take away?
I thought we checked with the attorney, and yes,
I thought
the
it said,
township can.
I thought the township can enforce the noise level, But they can't take away the right that the state gave, and the state can't take away anything that we enforce.
That's actually one of the tenets of zoning, is that the state or the law, the county may have one, but municipalities can tighten.
Can tighten it.
Yeah.
Can they take it away?
I don't think we're trying to take it away.
I checked with our Michigan License Every Association in Lansing and our in-house attorney and our executive director, and they went over our ordinance and 16. And they have similar situations in Lansing and East Lansing, but they have what they're called a cabaret license. And the only thing that the attorney said that might be up for question is the mandatory insurance. But it's only 100,000, 300,000, and just about everybody that has them.
A business has that.
Everybody but me has that because it's not mandatory, and so I won't buy it. But anyway, but John already has that. As far as the license is concerned, your license under the state, you got your dance permit, you've got your music permit, whatever, entertainment permit, whatever you want to call it. And I just want to state the fact that the beverage association, or the beverage business in the state of Michigan, the bar tavern business, probably, well, we always were the most heavily regulated business in the state of Michigan until just recently, and now I think probably the marijuana growers are right up there with us. But a lot of people don't realize when you get a liquor license in the state of Michigan, you have to give up your constitutional rights of the illegal search and seizure and all such things. Liquor Commission can walk into my house, my garage, into my establishment any time of the day or night, and for whatever reason they deem plausible, they can padlock your doors. I mean, it's not like running a hardware store. Then you have to have mandatory liquor liability insurance, you have to have workman's comp insurance, you have to have workers' comp, liquor liability, what's the other one, John?
Just property casualty insurance.
But anyway, so I'm just saying, and it's just, and everybody thinks, oh, got a bar on him, man, that guy's rich. Well, that's not true. If you're not young enough to work 18, 20 hours a day, which I was when I bought my place in 1978, when I was 24, I worked about a 22-hour day. Matter of fact, I worked 146-hour, 2 days. But anyway, it's just another $100. And it's $100 here, and it's $100 there, and everybody said, oh, it's just $100. Well, $100 is $100. If you're making $3,000 a month payments and you only got $2,900, it's a little difficult. So I just think it's another thing thrown at only one kind of business. I mean, who else is going to have an entertainment license other than a bar? Hardware store is not going to have one. Well, maybe if he does, he'll have to get an entertainment license, but I doubt it will happen. But anyway, that's my opinion. I see nothing wrong with the application. John is, I'm sure he runs a tight ship, and I'm sure he'll do the proper thing if we approve this, but I just think it's unnecessary. Just another $100. Because it's already licensed. We're already licensed by the state.
Well, I just have this suspension and revocation, 16.08. So I was reading that.
Yeah.
Any license may be suspended or revoked by the township for good cause. So do we have the ability to do that or not?
I do not believe it, no.
We wouldn't have the ability to do a state license, I mean, if it was our own requirement.
The state license, so he's still.
Oh, you mean, yeah.
He's still within compliance.
Could we revoke his entertainment license for outside entertainment? Probably could, if we issue it.
For a noise.
We can
noise
probably
regulation.
Well, I think we could, because he was supposed to have one before he started.
When? But, right. All this has come to light, and out of good faith, he's been here, he's applied, he's trying to.
Right.
That was my only question, is it
Is it enforceable? enforceable?
As far as does it supersede the state, can we take it, we can't take the state?
No, like the liquor license.
They're not a liquor license, but it's entertainment,
Well, we can take this, but not.
not the state issue.
Not. And the state entertainment license basically is more for inside. Oh, John, did you have to get a special permit for outside?
No, it's concluded with my, because I do have the 2 outdoor bars that are part, that I
You already
paid
got
for.
one license, so that's part of it, right, yeah.
And as far as having a license prior to,
No, right.
I would say that who in here really knew that, I was told that you guys had to find
I've
it.
been 49 years and I had never.
Thank you.
before, so.
You know, so any reasonable person didn't even know that it existed, because I'm the only business in Newfield Township that this apparently applies to.
Right.
It doesn't apply to any other, so I'm the only business that this applies, you know, so in Newfield Township, I asked if somebody has a concert or a beer tent or a band, do they have to get one of these? And I guess there's no reason for anybody else to have it. The village, I understand, is under a different set of rules because it's the village. But apparently I'm the only business that this applies to, so I'm being.
I think the Legion applies to also.
Okay, do they have one?
No.
Okay, have they ever got one?
I don't believe so.
Then I don't know how I should have known that I should have got one prior to starting my band, the band stage.
Well, I don't think, from what I understood, it wasn't just because somebody complained about the noise, is that's how it all came about.
That's exactly what
I mean, that's usually how stuff
Right.
comes about there, so I mean,
And that's been going on
I mean,
for 20
and
years.
there's been outdoor bands there before, years and years ago, I mean, if you're not the first one, I mean, but it's more of a regular basis, so.
Absolutely.
But there's always been a noise complaint there at that for, ever since they've had a band there.
Yeah, inside or outside.
Inside or outside, yeah. All times, all seasons there's always been a complaint. You're next to the waterfront, it reverberates off the water and spreads farther and faster. So there's gonna be some noise. And they're just gonna have to be dealt with. Well, it's just my question, that's all.
Now, if I could weigh in on this issue?
Yeah.
Okay. Full disclosure, I did a site check on Monday and I met John for the first time. And the way I see this issue is there is absolutely no question whatsoever that Hightower Bar and Grill is a valuable part of this community.
I would agree.
And it's my wish that Hightower Bar and Grill makes bushels full of money. It's very successful, beyond your wildest dreams. I think that there's no question. I think the fact that you didn't have a license, I think that can be put to rest, and we'll deal from this point on. I don't see that as an issue. However, we have to be mindful of 2 interests: the interest of Hightower Bar and Grill, and also the interest of our ordinance. More specifically, the ordinance returned to 1605 F. Licensee shall so conduct his business that it shall not give rise to nuisance by reason of noise, vibration, smoke, odor, or dust. Well, noise is the only one that applies here. You can only recommend conditions based on what our ordinances say. However, we may have to clear this through legal and check on this, but some of my research indicates that nuisance is in fact defined by the reasonable person standard, which is really common throughout the United States in a lot of instances. Reasonable person standard is read into any nuisance ordinance. But then in order to be specific, most standards for regulating require explicit standards. Now, what is an explicit standard? They usually go by decibel levels. So I have a couple points on this, on decibel levels, and there's a lot of research out there and a lot of standards on decibel levels. Basically, anywhere between 85 and 90 is considered. Anything over that is harmful. And that you can go to NIOSHA, I went to CBC, I went to audiologist sites, I went to the EPA on that. So that's pretty much a standard, okay? Here's the thing that I wrestle with. I want the band to be able to play outside and everybody have fun, have a great time. But what I wrestle with is, when F said licensee shall so conduct his business to give a rise to nuisance by reason of noise. If we were, as a planning commission, to recommend, or in this case, not make any recommendations, just approve this as written, are we then being willfully negligent by if say if it was to rise to say like 130, are we now we are spilling over and exposing people in a residential area to noise that is harmful, that's well documented being harmful. That's what I wrestle with. We're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place on this one. This is a conundrum, because if we're going to do that, if we're going to recommend this just as it is, and not put a explicit standard as other townships have, I think we're in treacherous water.
Where would we set to where you measure the decibels at?
That's the question, right there.
Right there, I mean,
That's the
your
question.
nearest neighbor or across the lake.
Well, there's a lot.
I mean, people that are at the facility are obviously going there to hear the band, so they're gonna wanna.
What about chainsaws and weed whackers then?
Yeah, at like
Yeah.
6 o'clock in the morning.
I would say that when you start talking about having specific numbers on there, and I can't remember the machine that would read decibel levels, but who is gonna take that out there? My guess is that would be something that Steve would have to do. That would, it has to be calibrated every so often. Like, I don't necessarily know if we wanna get into saying specific numbers on that.
Well, we don't have anything in our ordinance as far as what defines excess noise, so it's really unenforceable at this point.
I like the time limit that he gave,
No, that's in our noise, in our
That's in
public
the noise
safety.
ordinance, it has to be done by 11.
but local, correct, I like that.
I do too.
But in the past, bands have played indoors until, 2 o'clock? Which people complained about more than anything, because 11 o'clock they were trying to get to sleep or
Sure.
whatever, things on weekends and stuff. So I do like the 11 o'clock cutoff.
Well,
I do
Just
like
to
that.
clarify, sir, if I may, this is for outdoor entertainment?
Correct.
Inside, I usually shut the bands down around midnight.
Right.
But you know what I mean, because the inside, the noise doesn't carry in the winter time, but
I'm
I'm usually done by midnight because I don't want to be there myself till 2 a.m.
John, your application says indoor and outdoor,
Well, it says indoor and outdoor.
and
Well,
that's,
I do have, okay, well then,
and I assume that because you have 52 events on here, so that's why I was thinking. you
yes,
meant
that's why I
indoor.
put indoor and out, but the time will be different then, because on the indoor events, it will be midnight.
So hours of operation, midnight is.
Because I do not need an entertainment license for my indoor, I've never had a noise complaint on my indoor bands. And that is definitely covered, that's inside. The only issue, the noise complaint came from outside.
Okay.
I put indoor and outdoor, I guess, for my clarification, because I got 52. If you want me to amend it and say outdoor and then cut it down to 26 or something, I could, but I think the biggest discussion is it's not really the indoor noise, because I've never, in 2 years, I haven't
It's
had a
the
complaint.
outdoor noise.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it is a residential area, there's 45, PRE homes, people that live there year-round, more or less. I don't know how they have, there's a few on there that have addresses elsewhere, but are claiming PRE. But there's basically 9 business or homes across the lake. And is anybody here from any of those 9?
Oh, I don't know, we're on the lake. Mindy,
What's your last name?
Mindy, M-I-N-D-E. We've been there 10 years.
No, you're not across, you must be on one side.
We're 2 houses from Brian's, right by the public rent,
Okay, so,
just west of the.
I'm just
public
wondering
rent.
if anybody that actually lives there, you know, that would, if they're right across the lake, would be taking the brunt of the noise, if they're here to complain.
I know half of
I haven't
them.
heard anybody complain.
Randy's directly across, I don't remember Randy's last name, but Randy Wren, he docks his pontoon, right, you know, by the thing and listens to the music. There's people from Holland that own 2 or 3 houses to the left that are directly across. There's a family from Holland. They always are in support of the music. I have never had one neighbor walk into the barn and say that it's too loud. The neighbors that
No,
are
they
here.
never go to the source. They
No,
never go
no.
to the source to complain.
But the neighbors that are here are in support of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, if I could further weigh in on this, we did get some calls on that when the people found out I'm on the planning commission. Myself personally, full disclosure, I get a pretty soundproof cabin. But I cannot hear the band at all from inside my house, ever. So it doesn't personally affect me at all. But when people call and say, is this too loud? Now, these are good people. These are good retirees. These are good people. These aren't, I think that.
Do I have the right to know who these people are, the names?
No, absolutely not. No, I wouldn't disclose them. The reason.
If I'm being accused of something, then I should have the right to know who these people are. I gave you names of my neighbors that are in support.
I know, let's let Brian finish.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
No, the reason these neighbors will come here is because there's a lot of people that aren't gonna speak up. But what I'm saying is this. Make a misunderstanding, okay? I'm not against the concerts at all, period. But I think we have to be mindful of those who say that this is adversely affecting them. I don't think I can easily dismiss people like that. And also, I want to note it also that it doesn't give in our ordinance a percentage of people that have to be affected before we take action. It doesn't say if 80% like it and 20% don't, then we don't have to do anything. There's no percentage in here.
That's true.
There is not a single percentage in here. So my way of thinking is, should we be mindful of these people? Should we even discuss that it is affecting them? One person, my neighbor told us that they actually got in their vehicle, they had their grandkids over and actually left. Okay, now I don't know if they're summer people or who they are, but I don't have any reason to believe this person is lying to me. I have no reason to believe whatsoever. These are good people we're talking about. These are not radical people.
Are they calling the police if they're?
I'm sorry, we're discussing on the board here.
So I guess should we give any credence at all to that, or should we just say, too bad?
Well, there are gonna be people that you're not gonna please.
Sure, absolutely.
You're
I
never
agree
gonna
with
please everybody all the
that.
time.
I agree with that 100%, but also, I guess, are we gonna be mindful of the fact that if it does reach a decibel level, for example, OSHA standards say if it reaches 110 decibels in a half hour, more than a half hour, it can start causing damage. Are we to be mindful of that, or are we just to say,
To give you an, as someone
is this,
who plays in a band,
are we really,
Brian, just to give you an idea of what 110
Steve, not right now.
Okay.
is this a
Thank
town
you.
hall? So I guess that's my question I wrestle with, if like I said, I'm not against high-powered bars, really at all. But I guess, like, should we even give any consideration to that aspect at all? I guess that's the question. If the answer is no, then it's no. But is it that the vast majority always rules and the minority just gets discarded? I think that, is that a fair question? I don't know. I would think that even if you're a minority of people, since it doesn't give a percentage in the ordinance, I think they have a right to have their interest, even if it's
Sure
through
they do.
another person expressed.
I would agree 100%. And it says in the ordinance that we have to enforce, it says in 1611, That it's the legislative intent of the Newfield Township Board that each and every provision of this zoning ordinance be liberally construed to protect and preserve the peace, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of said township, and should in provision, section, or portion thereof be held unconstitutional or invalid, such holding shall not affect the validity of the remaining provisions. I think that we need to take that into serious consideration, that it's not just the bar that we're trying to appease, but it's the residents that are neighbors as well. It's my 2 cents.
Jen, I haven't interrupted, may I?
Not right now, Jim, no.
Okay.
So we've got this application to take a look at. What's gonna be our recommendation, or? Does anybody have a motion to make, or is there more discussion?
Well, I think that band that played the, unoriginals, it's called, no? I think that's a good template. I don't know, now how do we go about, the question is, how do we go about making a recommendation that's not vague, that says that's a template, that's the way they played is what we go by as far as like the decibel level. And then the question is like, from where do we measure it, you know?
Steve, you asked me a question. So you and I had discussed the unoriginals and their decibels. I can't hire a band to your musical taste because you did tell me that you didn't like the other band because the lady sang too high. The decibel level was the same. I use my rule of, well, number one, you'll never reach 110 decibels at your home for any concert. You can't reach 110. My second question is the band that I hired the first time, I don't know what, this is my first year, Brian, I haven't hired a lot of bands, so I don't know if they're good, bad, or indifferent, and I don't know your musical taste. But unoriginals, I know you like them, I know you like the type of music they played. I hired classic rock and country bands because the majority of the population likes those. I don't do hard rock, I don't do rap, I don't do anything that is excessively loud and crazy. So the decibel volume for them is when I stand down to the lake, and if I can talk to my neighbors with their pontoons, and we can have on a conversation, then I know it shouldn't be carrying across the lake so that people can't have a conversation. I would say that if you can talk on your deck across the lake, then I think that's a reasonable level, that if you're still talking, so if I can talk in my courtyard, I would certainly believe the neighbors can talk amongst themselves and their decks across the lake. That's the gauge that I use, and that's all I have at this point.
Well, John, let me say this, my musical taste is not an issue here. I said that as an offhand comment. I can avoid hearing all your concerts all the time. I mean, me personally, I can avoid that. I'm not here to represent me. I have a soundproof cabin. I don't have that problem. So, but I do know this on that night on July 3rd it was, that I talked to my neighbor across the street, and I had a hard time talking to him, and I was across the street.
Yeah, fireworks were going on too.
Yeah, the fireworks were going on, that's correct. But but they were louder than that, other band.
And I haven't done that since, Brian.
No, you haven't.
Thank you.
No, you haven't. But I still say somehow, to me, I think the common ground, and that's what I'm trying to figure out is common ground. Can the common ground somehow we figure out to be how the one band played the originals and use that for a template?
And I agree, and I assured you I'm going to try.
Now that's what we're here to figure out.
And I assured you I'm going to try.
Right, but how do we put that into a recommendation? Yes, how do we put that into a recommendation?
Can I ask a question then? Are we here to approve the application, or are we here to change the ordinance?
We're here to approve or deny the application.
We're here
Based on
we're here to
ordinance.
recommend.
We're here to recommend.
Okay.
Make a recommendation, not
Yeah,
approve.
yes, well, correct, I'm sorry, a recommendation.
We can make a recommendation for the
As written
application.
out today, that's all we're here.
Yep.
So, whether-
Okay, I have a recommendation then, or maybe I have a motion.
I move we approve. As written.
My motion would be that we approve the 52 possible events, Thursday through Sunday, but no more than 20 of them can be outdoors.
With no decibel?
There's no decibels in the, as written.
I mean, if that would
20
become
events
an issue,
outdoors?
No more than 20.
what does that leave for, the calendar look like here?
I think that's reasonable. And you know, the permit's good for a year,
Correct.
you know, if it becomes an issue,
Well, it's good until March 31st.
yeah, up till March 31st, I don't know when it is.
Okay, Jen's made a motion, Brian has supported it, that we recommend for approval the 52 events to be held at High Tower Bar and Grill, to be held Thursdays through Sundays. That is an addition or a change to the application, as well as no more than 20 of the 52 to be held outdoors. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
I'm gonna abstain, I have too many dogs in the place.
Okay, all those opposed, same sign. All right, recommendation passes 5-0. And zoning administrator comment. Steve, now it is your turn.
I don't feel like I'm gonna make that.
Okay,
No,
Well, before we move on, does that seem reasonable to you?
I mean, as long as I can get the 20 dates in the summer, 26 would have been reasonable, but I wanna make sure I can get through the summer with my summer concerts. You know, then it's weather permitting, when they won't be outside if it's raining,
Correct.
so.
So when do they usually start? I mean, usually start around June.
When it's June,
Yeah,
this year
Memorial
was.
Day,
it
Labor
was-
Day kind of.
Yeah, so it's June, July, August, and I actually have outdoor bands right now booked until October 1st if the weather holds out.
So that,
That would be about 20 then.
Then, you know, then I'm fine with it.
So what happens if he's doing something on Memorial Day or Labor Day? That's a Monday.
We didn't put a,
I did say Thursday.
So
they say Thursday,
Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through Sunday.
let's make it Monday. then.
Okay, so,
when did you
Well,
But then if
What
Fourth of
about
July is on
holidays?
Tuesday,
What about holidays?
Yes.
Thursday through Sunday and the holidays of Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day.
Right, that's fine.
okay, can somebody make a motion amendment to that?
Well, that's, we're gonna.
Or can we just do that? Like, do we have to go back through
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back through again
What are
and
we looking at?
a revised
Right, but what's days? We're looking at a revision,
Thursday through Sunday, and if the holiday falls on
holidays,
a different day?
holiday eve and holiday.
Say that again?
Holiday eve and holiday.
Holiday eve and holiday, does that make sense?
So then I think we can just maybe look at the 26th.
Rather than hot in here.
Maybe look at the 26th, or maybe a day where there might be like a, man, on a
Motion
Friday
to
night.
modify it?
Yeah.
To amend,
Do we want to specify the day then, at all?
Oh, no, yeah, I think it needs to be.
just give them the days and give
Do
them.
we have to set a day?
Okay, make a motion, make a motion, the motion,
Excuse us.
make a motion that, 7 days a week, because, obviously there's a lot of days that people can get in concert. And that would cover everything.
I would agree with that.
Or 26 days instead
So
of.
we're gonna modify
20
the
days.
motion then?
Modify the motion, I'd like to modify the motion to make it 7 days a week that you can hold the, concerts, outdoor concerts for the 20 events.
Support. Motion by Brian, support by Jen to modify that motion so that any day of the week is a possibility for the 52 events, but still no more than 20 outdoor. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 6-0. All right, Steve, now it's your turn.
No comment.
Okay. Then number 10, other planning commission board discussion. I had put that on there. Jay, I know you had something that you wanted to,
No, hold on, we still got,
what did I miss?
talk about the special permit for September meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. The number 8, letter B, plan for upcoming annual review of special use permits. It has in our manual that we should be doing an annual review of special use permits. I don't think that has been done, so I would like to do that at our September meeting and have that be the focus. And I just wanted to give everybody a heads up with that. Steve, and I think Joan was working with Steve on collecting all those special use permits. 15? 12?
23.
Okay, 23. Yeah, I don't think there was either. So we'll take a look at those.
Yeah,
That'll be
I will
primary
have
focus.
that emailed out
Okay,
probably late next week.
that'd be great.
The problem is that we don't have a lot, what happened is that we don't have records of most of them.
Okay,
We did find in our policy manual, a list of special use permits going back to 1993.
okay,
That basically covered 93 to, I think, 2000. Tammy actually had updated and put a couple in there after 2000, which we actually have paperwork on.
Okay.
And I found a few that
Okay.
in that time period. Of course, the ones that we've done, you know, in the last 10 years or 9 years that I'm aware of. So we have paperwork on that. But there are going to be some that I'll have a name and a date and not much else.
and the special use permit stays with the property,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So even if it's changed owners, it still has that special use, okay. So just a heads up with that.
So we're gonna get the email on that?
Yes.
How many and what we gotta do, okay?
Yep, just
We don't-
as kind of a heads up.
We don't get to review them beforehand.
Yes,
Yeah,
Steve's gonna,
he's gonna
we
email.
started a spreadsheet
Oh,
of
yeah,
it,
alright,
so it's,
alright.
So that we can,
with as much information as we had, we put on
some of them
it.
may not be
I thought
accurate
we
anymore.
weren't gonna see them until.
Yeah, so some of them are long gone, some have
Yep.
died, and, you know, and like I said, some I'm not even sure what they were for.
We should review them and take a
You
look
know,
at what they're, what there is.
Actually, what I'm hoping is like Rick, particularly Rick, Wayne, and Mike, you guys, when you see the names, maybe you'll remember what they were doing, and it might be able, you know, to let me know so I can fill that in. I'm just gonna leave
Yeah,
spaces blank, and then if you guys
Sounds good.
can remember stuff.
okay, perfect. Did you have something that you wanted to share?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was working with an acquaintance on some properties, looking at buying, and it was split long before there were any rules. It's a 2-acre plot, but it's really narrow. And I think one thing we missed when we changed the minimum size lot on AR1 from 5 to 2 was changing the setbacks. We left them the same, 50 feet from the side and 75 feet from the back and stuff. And this lot is narrow and long, and it's buildable, but I think we need to go back and revise that for dwellings. You know, I can see a farm building 50 feet, 75 feet, silo or whatever, but a dwelling, it should follow our standard. So that, and then I also have an email to Mary Riley from Michigan, or the Citizen Planner, trying to get names of consulting firms, planning consulting firms, so that we can take a good look at the whole zoning manual.
I think that sounds like a great idea. Adding to
Get it
that,
up to
Lindsay Hager.
The 16, the noise ordinance, or the entertainment was done back in '94. It's 28 years old, it's never been enforced, never been modified, never even looked
Doesn't
at.
sound like it's ever come up
So
before.
it's not enforceable really. So the whole zoning ordinance needs to be looked at.
There's a lot of contradictions within the ordinance.
28 years ago, it was like, yeah, that sounds good, and they went with it. And times were different back then. People weren't requiring their I's dotted and T's crossed for everything. So people, back then, Newfield Township was a pretty reasonable place to live. Now, not so.
Well, thank you for reaching out to Mary too, to
Okay.
keep us posted on what she says. And do we have anything else for board discussion?
I have, board discussion, but I also have a recommendation. Are we gonna combine the two, or should I wait for the recommendations to have my discussion? I do have a recommendation.
Our recommendation is based on things that we have discussed that needs to go in writing to, Nancy.
To Nancy,
Yeah.
for the actual zoning meeting,
like for them to discuss.
or just for our board.
No, this isn't for us. I have an actual recommendation for the board,
Okay,
so I should wait till 11 for that. Correct.
yeah,
Okay.
but it doesn't sound like maybe anybody else has anything for number 10, so go ahead.
Okay, number 11 then, I have a recommendation, or not a recommendation, I'd like to open up discussions. Now that we've capped our, now that at least we reached our 50 Class C permits, I'd like to talk about putting a hard cap on the number of commercial grow facilities. I think it's time that we really tighten that language up. If we all turn to page 85 of the Newfield Township zoning ordinance, 2091, page 85. I have the motion prepared, but we can discuss it first. But I would like
Is this a change to the zoning manual then? Is that what you are suggesting?
yes.
Can't do that without a public hearing.
That's a public hearing.
Would that be a public hearing?
Yeah,
Any
any changes
changes to
to
that?
the zoning ordinance has to be done through a public hearing.
Okay.
But I think that was one of the things when we were talking about going over this whole zoning
But
thing.
the language, the
That's
language in
why-
it is a problem.
Yeah,
It needs to be
so,
changed,
yeah.
but it's not as simple as getting out the computer.
So then we're back to discussion, then we're back to discussion. At what point, and how can we facilitate the conversation so we can put a hard cap on the commercial grow facilities?
We have one, maximum of 10 for Class C.
But then it's the other ones you're talking, the class A and Bs.
No, I'm talking a hard cap for all of them. I'm talking about putting a hard cap at 5.
Oh, on all total.
Now that we have 5, just hard capping it at 5. Oh, hard capping it at 5, the total number of marijuana grow facilities at any type shall not exceed 5. How do we go about facilitating that conversation?
So we have to agree on it and then have a public hearing.
Well, let's talk about it then.
It needs to be an agenda item,
I would think so too.
so we can take it.
But we
You
can
want that
say,
for
yeah.
September?
Yeah.
Sure.
You do that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now.
Right, we have 5. We have 5.
I don't know where, Stuart, is that his name?
Yeah.
He's even still interested.
Yes.
So,
Okay, so our only recommendation to the board is the application from John then, right?
yes,
With, recommending his 52 events, but only 20 of them to be outdoors.
Yes.
And any day of the week, not just Saturdays, like he put on there. Yeah,
And he's got down that it needs to stop at 11, and I don't.
Which he has to.
Yeah, he's got that, so,
Yep.
yep.
11 outdoors.
11 outdoors, midnight.
Only question, 2 events, what are you talking about?
On his application, he has the number of events that he's applying for is 52 events.
52 weeks, basically.
Indoor and
In other
outdoor.
words, no, 52 events, he's talking about outdoor.
Well, his application says indoor and outdoor.
What you were saying, what he had said was indoor was already approved, and we couldn't do nothing on indoor.
I don't think he's on that understanding, because he can have music Thursday, Friday, Saturday night inside, 52 weeks out of the year, and times 3 is 156 inside.
I'm just going off what his application says, right?
well, it's probably gonna expire at the end of the year anyway. There's not gonna get 52 between now and then, I don't think.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
fine.
the ones that have already happened.
Yeah, I don't
behind-
think, well, I think what he was talking, we wasn't planning Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but.
Usually just one
You
night a
could.
weekend.
One night,
yeah.
one night a weekend, what he was basically planning.
But it would change, I mean, he doesn't say he could,
Right.
Yeah, I thought you'd have bands
all the time.
3 nights a week at least,
Mm-hmm.
back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, that's right. Not anymore.
All right, is there anything else to recommend to the board?
Walking out the bar.
I haven't.
Okay. Can I have a motion for adjournment then?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Brian, second by Wayne. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Meeting adjourned.
So now that the meeting is adjourned, I'd just like to point out the hypocrisy on the nuisance that could happen 2 hours a week of that and how much back and forth that is versus the nuisance from late June to late October where we have to smell skunk in our house.
Or the nuisance that you cause every time you come to a meeting.
All right, enough.
Can I just
The meeting's adjourned.
What nuisance are you referring to?
It smells like skunk inside my